30% of school initiatives fail. And that statistic has held true for many years now. And when you look at the 30% that are being successful and you look at the why, it's all about implementation. And then when
Yeah.
you look deeper, well, what is it about the implementation? What are they doing differently? It's all about trusted leadership. And the schools that are struggling and questioning, oh, why is this initiative not working? It's because they're not recognizing you need to do the foundational work of ensuring there's a high level of trust between the administration,
Trust.
the ownership, and the faculty. That is the key relationship.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our next episode. This is Aryeh Eisenberg from Edu-Together, and I am so happy to introduce today's special guest, Dr. Toby Travis. Dr. Travis actually wears two hats in the educational community. Dr. Travis is, first of all, head of school at the Houghton Academy in New York, and he is also the author of an award-winning book called Trust Ed, The Bridge to School Improvement. So we're looking forward to talking about both the school and the book today. And Dr. Travis, it is so nice to have you with us. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So I want to start with Houghton Academy because I know you recently joined as head of school. I believe you're going into your second year now. Is that correct?
Yes.
Wonderful. So I want to tell us a little bit about Houghton, what makes it such a special place, and how has your experience been there so far?
Well, it's really an honor to have this role and be associated with the Academy. The Academy is in its 141st year of operation. So, and continuous operating, since 1883. So that's pretty unique in
Absolutely.
the world, and it has been a authentically Christian college preparatory private institution since day one. In fact, by the 1890s, the school was offering college level courses, and in the 1920s launched a college that became Houghton University today. And I like to describe the academy as, well, we're a small private school with a college because we live there. We share a campus, and it's a great resource for our students. So we are an international boarding school, so our curriculum and program is designed to meet the needs of international students, although we do have day students here as well.
Wow.
Real uniqueness is our work in collaboration with the university. Currently, and we have, I think today, I have to check because we still have students. We accept students all year round. That's
Amazing. That's incredible.
If we have room. And so right now I think we're around 113 students on campus. And of our juniors and seniors, 28 of those right now are literally sitting in university courses.
Wow.
It's not just dual enrollment. And there are
actual university
actually sitting in university courses under the instruction of university professors, and so that's a real advantage to the students that are here. What can I say? The school went through a lot of ups and downs over those 140 years prior to my coming. The school went through a really rough season. COVID nearly shut the academy down. Think about it. I mean, majority of students are international.
Yeah.
Couldn't get here. And so in the last year and a half, our enrollment has increased by 125%.
Amazing.
We're definitely seeing, a swing back to kind of the, where the school had been for many years. And I'm very excited about what the future holds. I think we are in a position in the unique element of what we provide, sitting in a very rural setting. We're in Western New York. We're surrounded by beautiful Amish farms. And we're about an hour and 15 from either Buffalo or Rochester. So we have access to metro areas, but this is a very safe, beautiful country lifestyle. I tell folks it's like living in a Hallmark movie. So
I love that.
A beautiful campus, beautiful community, and but it is intentionally small. Our student staff ratio is 8-to-1, and
my goodness, that's amazing.
Yeah. And so what else can I tell you about Houghton other than I love it? Honored to be here, honored to be a part of the Academy's tradition and its present growth, and excited about its future.
Well, it sounds like a dream environment, and it sounds truly amazing from the student side, from the administrative side, and one of the things that I think drew me to learn more about Houghton Academy on my side was the fact that you have this unique high school, college, university hybrid, almost like a hybrid. Like you said before, Dr. Travis, there are many schools that offer dual enrollment programs, but that's not what you guys are doing. You guys are actually offering the university experience, which is such a unique gift, I think, for your students.
But it's just so core to our mission, because our mission is, and we don't push back from this. We are college prep.
Sure.
Now we do our best to meet the needs of all students, but in fact, 100% of our graduates matriculate to college. That's who we are. That's what we're uniquely providing. And if that's not the trajectory for a student, then this may not be the best
Right.
place for them. But it is more than college prep in the sense that, no, we are providing the college experience.
It's actually college. Yeah.
Is here.
So,
the other thing, if I may, that I just love to brag on with our school
please.
Because we have an international faculty serving an international and American-based student population. So this year we have faculty and staff from China, Uganda, Pakistan, Indonesia, Native American. I think I'm forgetting somebody, but it's just it's a joy. Well, Ecuador, my wife.
Don't forget your wife. I've done that before. That never ends well. But no. But that's really incredible to have
many faculty members who themselves were English language learners, who are professors or instructors for English language learners. It's a winning recipe. I'm just so proud of our team.
Especially with 130 students, to have that many faculty members and that type of ratio and that type of support, that really is a dream program for everybody involved. Tell us, what is the average academic day look like for a Houghton student, and what does it really mean? Like how physically do the high school experiences get combined with the university experience? Like, can you give us a glimpse as to what that would look like for a typical student?
Sure. And I also want to be transparent. I mean, we have our challenges. We have our issues.
Well,
we have teams walking on the campus, and therefore you always have.
If you told me there were no challenges, let's be honest, like it would be kind of hard to believe. I think everybody has the challenges, but we know that. The question is, how do you overcome them? How do you meet them? And it sounds like you guys are doing a great job there. So.
Well, one of the other distinctives of our program is we create what we call an individual learning plan. It's really a plan of study for every student. So we do not have a set, ninth graders must take this, 10th graders must take this. Now, there are course subjects and kind of a ACE track to support students, but we truly individualize that learning plan for their high school experience based on the aspirations and the desires of the student. We currently have 5 different levels of diplomas. Those are different credit levels, and based on their interest. I shouldn't say bottom. The entry level diploma is a college prep diploma, but then you add credits and emphasis from there. So you get X number of college courses with an emphasis, let's say, in fine arts. You will graduate with a higher level diploma with an emphasis in fine arts. So we start with that individual learning plan. What does the student need? Again, based on their aspirations and their skills. And then as far as access for our juniors and seniors, and occasionally a few 10th graders. So we've had this last year a couple of 10th graders who, they're AP scholars.
Wow.
They are just ready to handle college work. And so the university has provided them with a waiver, and they've been able to take on-campus university classes as well. Now, if you looked at the university's catalog of courses, basically what our students will look at is the 100 and 200 level courses. And then what we do is we provide a kind of an updated mini catalog for our students. Okay, these are the college courses that are available during your class periods.
I see.
They can say, okay, this is something I might be able to do. And of course, we adapt our schedule because we know, for example, we do not teach
Yeah,
calculus on the Academy campus because
you have the
all of our
college.
calculus students take it at the university, right? So
It,
there's that coordination.
it must be a logistical challenge to be able to align your schedule with the university schedule, but it's amazing that you're able to do that.
Well, it did require us modifying the bell schedule of the school to mirror the university. But again,
Right.
we're a college preparatory school. Therefore, our rationale for that, as we tell students and parents, is no, you're going to go to high school, but on a college schedule. And this is
Got
to
it. Wow.
prepare you for what being in college looks like. So most of our courses run on either a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 50-minute period, or a Tuesday, Thursday, 75-minute period.
Hmm.
And so they're getting a minimum of 150 minutes of interaction with the instructor, and then of course the course load goes beyond that. Now in the sciences, there's a lab also in addition to that, an extra
Okay.
lab period. Literally, and I'm pointing out my window here, you can't see, but literally the university is a 5-minute walk. And now, depending where you need to get to the university, it might take 10 minutes to get to the appropriate building. But literally, students that are in, a university course, and we have between most periods a 10-minute passing period. So
So there
kids,
we go.
a lot of our kids own scooters, these electric
Uh-huh.
become
They
really
didn't have those when we were in college. We actually had to walk across campus. I remember from the old days. And I guess for the students who are living in this at the school, the international students, that they can actually roll out of bed and literally and be in class, which is, I guess another aspect of that college university experience.
Exactly. Yeah. So we have multiple dorm properties. We have some house dorms, which are small units with house parents and 4 to 8 kids. We have two large dorms, a girls and a boys dorm. The girls dorm is literally across the street from the main academy
Nice.
building. The boys dorm is up the hill by our soccer field. They've got a little bit more of a walk, but right, it's all right here. It's all in walking distance and accessible.
So cool. With all of these opportunities, and obviously as a college preparatory high school, this is the focus, making sure that the students understand that relationship between high school and university. But how do you find, or how do you deal with the maturity aspects? Because obviously high school students, at least many of them, while academically they may be able to handle a course like a calculus or a physics or whatever, but emotionally they may still be on that ninth or 10th grade level. So how do you deal with that discrepancy, or that gap between your typical high school student and your typical university student?
Well, again, so this year, I think we've got between 50 and 60 juniors and seniors, right?
Okay.
And I know 28 of them are taking university. So it's about half of the students.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we do those assessments. It's not just is the student academically ready to be successful, because there's a lot of independence. I mean, they have to show up for class. I mean, they basically have
Yeah.
to be a college student and get this done. We are assessing, do they have the maturity to succeed? And we will not enroll a student in a college course unless, well, first we have to have the endorsement of the teacher here at the academy.
Uh-huh.
If they want to take a math course, at the university, they have to have the endorsement of the math teacher
So there's
here.
a screening process that's kind of built in internally.
And then our dean, works to coordinate that. And so, yeah, so I want to be clear, not all of our juniors and seniors are having that on-campus college experience. It's all those who are ready to do so.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to ask you about something on your school's website. You have a tagline that I absolutely love. It says "Live, Learn, Lead, Love," which I guess the 4 L's, and I think we've talked about the live, we've talked about the learning, we've talked about the love. Talk to us a little bit about the lead. Obviously, in such a small school setting, I'm assuming there are opportunities for students to step up, to really be able to take leadership roles, to prepare them for the next phases. Talk to us about some of the efforts that are going on at Houghton to really create the leaders of the next generation.
Oh, sure. No, happy to do that, because it is one of the areas that we're very excited about.
And I love that tagline, by the way, I have to say.
Uh,
Like I saw that, I was like, wow,
well,
that's awesome.
and I inherited that. Those four descriptors actually come out of the school's mission statement. So, the board some years back did some real work on updating the mission statement to include those four elements, and it is what we craft everything around here. So even like when the kids go on retreat, so we do a 2-day retreat at the beginning of the school year. They're broken up into the live, lead, learn, live teams.
Wow.
They say, well, you know what I'm saying. So opportunities to lead. Well, of course, we have, a student council, National Honor Society, all those kind of, standard. Okay, that's what you expect to see in a high school, and they are robust and a part of what we do here. But we also have a large club program, and
Oh,
these
interesting.
are non-academic, and they range everywhere from a table tennis club to a culture club to a
Wow.
math club to and I'd have to look at the list. I think we're probably upwards of 15 different clubs. And each one of them have not just opportunities to play together and build relationships, but to also lead. So, every club has got a structure for meeting the ends and the desires of what the purpose or mission is of the club. And it's great because it also provides opportunity for an interconnection of our incredible diversity here. Again, small school, I think right now we're at 12 or 13 nationalities on campus.
Incredible.
And
Amazing.
we celebrate our diversity, but it also always creates opportunity for conflict.
Sure.
Because a lot of the issues that come into the dean's office or into my office, they're really they're cultural issues. They're not right or wrong. It's why doesn't this person ever greet me in the hall? Well, that's not their
That's
culture.
not their custom.
And, so it's, kind of classic. I lived in Ecuador for years. Again, my wife is from there. The Latinos, they're great on, I would call them the bookends of meetings, right? Which is you've got to greet each other. You got to ask about the family. There's the cheek kiss and all of that, right?
Yeah.
You get into business and conversation. And then before you leave, you've got to do that.
Do it all over again.
You got to do it, right? North Americans, no, it's, they want to just get to business. And so you have those kinds of, cultural flare-ups that happen with people not understanding each other. But I
Interesting.
also see that as a tremendous opportunity for our kids to develop into being world citizens because they're seeing all these cultures of the world, and able to interact on topics about those. I know one of our teachers, he loves to talk about, they were having a conversation, actually it was in a leadership class, about the pros and cons of healthcare systems of the world.
Oh, interesting.
And he said, what was great about that conversation, though, is you could literally sit in the classroom and say, so what is that like in Japan?
Right. Have so many different viewpoints.
United Arabs. What does that look like in Canada? You've got kids from around the world sitting together, able to share their own perspective of what's going on in their part of the world.
It's so important in today's day and age with so much conflict and so much, unfortunately, hate that we see in our global society. The fact that your students are able to gain an appreciation for other cultures or respect for other cultures, even if they're not the same. And there might be disagreements, like you said before, but that ability to respect and to appreciate different customs, I think it's so important, and it will surely help them later on in their lives, which is obviously the most important point.
Especially as future leaders. So kind of
Exactly.
I mean, that's a element to how do we develop leadership here is just gaining those life skills of how do you interact with people who are different than yourself, who are not coming from the same assumptions and culturally, view behaviors differently than you do. Really, that's really important life skill.
I mean, Dr. Travis, Houghton Academy just sounds like an incredible place to learn. It sounds like an incredible place to work, even to live for some people. For those people who might want to find out more information about the school or even apply as a student or as a faculty member, what's the best way for people to find out more info?
Let's just go to the website. It's just houghtonacademy.org. And you can find us on Facebook and LinkedIn and other places, but best is just to go to the website and you'll find all the information there.
Amazing. So we're not done yet. Don't worry. We still have a lot of story to tell. I want to pivot a little bit to the other work that you're doing, so to speak, and that's as an award-winning author. You wrote a book in 2021 called Trust Ed, The Bridge to School Improvement. And I think that's a topic that, as if you ask any principal, any head of school, probably any teacher, I think that's something that's on everybody's mind. I don't think that we can that we can ever dismiss that issue. And I'm going to embarrass you for a second, but in a good way, Dr. Travis. Just looking at some of the reviews on Amazon of your book, Dr. Travis is one of the best communicators in the country, and the review goes on. Dr. Travis absolutely nailed it as it related to necessary components for comprehensive school reform. So clearly, this book is hitting an important topic and is really something that has been a positive effect to a lot of people, certainly those people in education. Tell us a little bit more about the book, what led you to write it, and what type of feedback have you received since you became a published, an award-winning published author?
Well, thank you. Well, where it came out of was personal experience, and which also dovetailed into my doctoral studies years ago. And I was working in an international school and was very, a bit naive perhaps, but also surprised as I came into that environment to see the level of angst and almost dysfunction in the relationship between the faculty and the staff. And what became quickly ironic is I was only there maybe a year when they had asked me to join the admin team, and then I was teaching part-time, and I became an administrator, and on it went. And so part of it was just, okay, how do we address this? And a friend of mine, David Horsager, had written a bestseller on the Wall Street Journal list called Trust Edge, and I reached out to David and had asked for his help and input. He actually came down and spent some time with us.
Oh, nice.
Did a great job. Actually invited me to sit in on one of his corporate trainings. So I flew to Minneapolis, and I'm sitting in there with all these corporate 500 and 100.
Very cool.
And I'm sitting there from my little academy. But
Google didn't take you like they didn't offer you a good position to lead. No, I'm only kidding. But
yeah, it was a great experience. It was eye-opening to me to see what major corporations, I mean, David's clients are Amazon and Goodyear and John Deere, and these major corporations are putting big money into training their leaders and teams on how to create trusted environments, so work environments, and it's so critical. They invest in it greatly. But as I sat through that training, I'm like, schools need this desperately, but the school world does look very different than the corporate world. And,
sure.
And so this all happened, again, was a confluence of multiple things that were running in my life. I was entering into a doctoral program. And so I'm like, this would make a great focus for my doctoral studies. And so that became the focus of my research, was basically what are the connectors of trusted leadership practices and school improvement. And the bottom line of the research and of those years comes down to this one finding, and that is that the number one indicator of successful schools is trusted leadership. And what's interesting about those findings, or that finding, is it held true no matter how you define the word success. Again, the number one indicator of successful schools is trusted leadership. If you define school success as student levels of achievement, the number one indicator of student achievement levels is trusted leadership. If
How about that?
Your indicator of success is retention of quality faculty and staff, the number one indicator of retention is trusted leadership. If you look at volunteerism, or what some studies refer to as discretionary energy, the number one indicator trusted leadership. When you look at financial success of schools, what is the number one indicator? Especially private schools where we're dependent on donors and fundraising. Where do people want to give? It's to schools who have trusted leadership. So that finding held true in all these different areas. And what I unpack in the book is we had to figure out, well, how do you assess it?
Right.
How do you use data then to drive? Because also what was happening in my life, I was invited into school consultancy. And so I started serving as a consultant to other schools and other school leaders and boards and school owners. And I knew I needed a tool. I'm a bit of a data geek, and I'm like, okay, I believe in data-driven improvement, but if this is the key issue, and it is, then we've got to get some data around it. And so
Absolutely.
then I worked with some other brilliant people who helped me develop a tool for assessing the trusted level or the trust level of leaders in school settings. And then based on that data and the 6 components of trust that we talk about in the book, which are the elements of the bridge, we're able then to craft a very personalized and an individualized basically improvement plan and strategy, a map, if you will, to what are the steps the school needs to take. And it's not only just resonated as apparently a good read, and I'm thankful for that, and thankful for the editors that helped me make that a good read. But I've seen the success of using the framework, and I've seen schools turn around, and it's been an honor and a joy to see and be a part of that. And as I told you in our previous conversation before going on air, it has really taken me by surprise. I mean, the fact that the book's now been in Forbes and and all these, it's like that was never the plan or the intent. It really was just to share my research and the application of it with the schools I've been consulting with, so others could see it and have access to it.
Well, look, like I said before, I think you came on a such an important topic and even more than that, an important challenge that so many schools and educational institutions are going through. Like you said before, there's a difference between running a school and running a Fortune 500 company. And I think that's the first thing that has to be put on the table here. And I can't tell you how many personal experiences, both from both sides, both from the administrator side and from the faculty teaching side, that I can tell you about where these problems are real, and I think they are things that affect probably. I would even be so bold to say every single school has these challenges. It's just a question of whether they're able to overcome those challenges and find solutions and build, like you said, like you wrote about, build that trust. So I think that's really the key here. So I'm not surprised that your book took off like it did, because this is an issue that I think affects every single principal, every single head of school, and for that matter, every single teacher out there. So that's whether that's a good thing or not, it doesn't matter. That's reality.
70% of school initiatives fail. And that statistic has held true for many years now. And when you look at the 30% that are being successful, and you look at the why, it's all about implementation. And then when you look deeper, well, what is it about the implementation? What are they doing differently? It's all about trusted leadership. And the schools that are struggling and questioning, oh, why is this initiative not working? It's because they're not recognizing you need to do the foundational work of ensuring there's a high level of trust between the administration, the ownership, and the faculty. That is the key relationship. And you get that trust level right between the leadership and those that are actually on the ground doing. I mean, one of the other things I say frequently is the essence of a school are the teachers. The school isn't the curriculum. It's not the facilities. It's not the building. It's not the kids. Right. And I've heard people, they want to use a business model. We're going to run the school like a business and the kids are our customer. No, it doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. No, this is an organic organization, and the critical relationship is between the leadership and the faculty and staff. You get that right, and everything else starts happening like magic. It's amazing how well things go if you ensure you're assessing, maintaining, developing,
Yeah.
protecting a trusted relationship between the leadership and the faculty and staff.
Look, I can, it's so true because I remember in my own experiences, I remember when I started out teaching, I was working at a private school and they brought in a new principal who nobody really knew. Nobody had, the first mention of her was, welcome Dr. So-and-so to the school. And I remember she came in and basically tore the place apart within 5 minutes. No, everything you have is terrible. That's going to be my way. And as a result, I remember this was a large private school, K through 12 figure. There were probably close to 200 faculty members on staff. I remember over 70 faculty members, including myself, actually left the school at the end of that first year. It was just unbearable. And you talk about the trust factor. There was none. And it was either her way or the highway. It didn't matter what great successes you had before. And it just destroyed the school. And it took the school probably 5 years to rebuild from that experience. And
I've got a buddy of mine in the public sector who is a turnaround principal. I mean, that's why
yeah,
and he would be the first to tell you, you can hit numbers pretty fast with that kind of behavior, right?
yeah,
So if you're turning around a failing school, and yeah, you fire a bunch and you hire a bunch of fresh blood, and kind of that corporate mindset, but it's not sustainable.
correct.
You are spending time to develop relationships and again a trusted environment. So there can be a short blip of success with that kind of
Yeah,
approach, but it's not
it's not going
sustainable.
to last.
It's not going to last. Right.
Yeah, I'll ask. I want to get your opinion on a scenario, Dr. Travis. So this is something on one of the schools that I'm connected to is going through this now. Head of school who has been there for over 40 years. Well respected. No head of school is loved by all, but certainly she is respected by all. She has created a true transformational style of leadership. The teachers feel empowered. All the divisions in the school are really running well. She's announced her retirement. They are currently looking for the replacement. And the word on the street, in the small bubble that are all the prospective candidates for this position, is that this is going to be a no-win situation because whoever comes in is not going to be able to build the trust that this person has taken 40 plus years to build. How would you approach that situation if you were the new person coming into this school and you were obviously with the qualifications, with the experience, with the know-how? How would you start to begin to build that trust that people are so skeptical about being able to build?
Well, first, in that situation, I would counsel the board or the ownership of the school, do not replace the head right away. Recruit an interim purposely for a 1 or 2 year period, and do not allow that interim to apply for the position of head. So you need time and you need a gap. And you're describing correctly what has happened, and the classic mistake that you see not just in schools. You see it in business. You see it in the nonprofit world. You see it in churches. A pastor who has been in that church for many years is beloved. You can always or almost always predict without the gift of prophecy that whoever follows that long-term pastor, they're not going to last very long, right?
Yeah.
So for schools, I highly recommend slow down. There is a leader out there that can pick this up and will do well. But what you need is an interim. You need the retiring head to retire and disconnect from the school, and that may take more time, especially if they remain local, right?
Yeah.
That's
always a challenge.
Schools often, right? So if the person is still local and around and they want to have a part, that it can work. One of my predecessors lives right around the corner, and
I remember
said to me, but so that would be first counsel: is don't be in a rush to replace that position intentionally. Put an interim in, and so that. But following that interim, the studies show that it takes about 7 months to develop a base level of trust. So usually the counsel to incoming principals or administrators is don't do anything.
Yeah,
Watch, listen, take a lot of notes. Now, there is a caveat to that, and I'll share that in a moment. But the general counsel is, yeah, be quick to listen, meet with everyone one-on-one. That's something that I've done as I've transitioned from schools over the years. Is I intentionally take the first 6 months to do a one-on-one with every employee and every volunteer. It's like, and key parents, right? And when I can, even with groups of kids, but just take in a lot of information, listen, and if there is some safety issue or, some really serious area of non-compliance with, a local, state, fed, or accreditation, okay, yeah,
that's different.
you're going to address that. But really, your job as the new leader is just to learn the culture and learn the people and take the time to do that. Now, the caveat is if it is broken and in distress. And
Yeah,
so, like what I inherited here, and it's not a criticism of anybody that immediately preceding. We had a pandemic, and
right.
so I mean the school was in crisis, and it was preceded by about a 10-year decline, and for a lot of different reasons. And again, that's not a criticism of anyone, but it meant that what like I inherited here. There was just lots to fix. And so, I describe our school sometimes like, well, we got a 140-year-old toddler, right? It's got this long history, but
Love it.
lots of things to repair. And so there are decisions I've had to make here to implement new policies and
Sure.
that I wouldn't do in a larger, more established school that didn't and hadn't gone through such a dramatic a previous season. So sometimes you do have to come in and you got to let some people go and you've got to implement some new policies and you do need to kind of clear the decks and
Right.
rebuild. But in most cases, especially established schools, now take your time.
Take your time.
You
Yeah,
don't have to fix it all, and go for the long game. Have a commitment to, and I know, and I've seen the numbers. I'm sure you have too. I mean, it
sure.
is unfortunate. Right now, I think the average tenure of a head of school is 3 years. For principals, it's about 5 years. For junior high principals, I think it's 18 months. 'Cause
Well, that's a whole different podcast,
yeah,
but yeah, yeah, it
retention
is
is a challenge, but
it is alarming,
yeah.
but
So that
um,
would be my counsel
okay,
to the school you're referencing.
good advice all around. And for those people who want to find out more about school leadership, again, the name of the book is Trust Ed: The Bridge to School Improvement, available on Amazon and all the major online and local booksellers. Dr. Toby Travis, head of school of Houghton Academy, author of Trust Ed. Thank you so much for being with me today and having this conversation. I think both of your roles are so exciting and sounds like you're doing amazing work on both sides. And I think that the students who are in your school and the people who have been able to use your book as a guide to leadership are very fortunate and I'm sure have benefited greatly. So, Dr. Travis, thank you so much for being here today. For those people who want to find out more about our organization, Edu-Together, or more about our podcast, please visit us at www.edutogether.org. This is Aryeh Eisenberg, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.